Next, maybe show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe. Why not?
Oleksandr Uysk shocked the combat sports world when he mentioned the possibility of facing UFC champion Alex Pereira before hanging up his gloves for good.
Well, he feel that he could do really good. Like, people talk about boxing, but boxing is one of his strongest parts. And yeah, if he's supposed to fight, he's the champ, he want to fight the champ. So he'll fight Oleksandr Uysk. He think he could go head-to-head with him.
It wasn't just any random fan theory either. The idea came from legendary boxing trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas, who believes that Pereira will be the perfect man to close out Usyk's incredible journey. To Atlas, there couldn't be a better way for Usyk to finish than by facing someone completely outside the traditional boxing world, a fighter who's known for his ferocity, mystique, and aura of danger. Pereira, after all, isn't your average opponent. The Brazilian powerhouse has conquered both the middleweight and light heavyweight divisions in the UFC and is widely regarded as one of the most intimidating strikers in MMA.
So I've recently watched, it was last night, I watched Alex Pereira sparring on YouTube, and he's okay, he's a little bit upright, chin's in the air a bit, but he's a bit bolt rigid and no head movement and quite basic. Usyk's dealt with the best in the world, so Usyk against Pereira in a boxing match, based on what I've seen of Pereira, and don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic UFC fighter. He's an absolute machine. What a guy. Just got nothing but praise for him in his discipline. He's a brilliant fighter, and like I said, one of the biggest names now in UFC. Oleksandr Uysk against Pereira in a boxing ring. For me, it's a mismatch. It's not really something I'd want to see. I'd probably like to see that in the cage, if I'm honest, but that's just the fighter in me saying, how good would one of the best in the boxing world, best in the business to do it, how good would he do against somebody who, like Alex Pereira, who's a top UFC fighter? But the answer to that question would probably be not very good. Alex Pereira would probably absolutely wipe him out.
Usyk's dominance has been nothing short of remarkable. From winning Olympic gold as an amateur to unifying every major belt at cruiserweight and then repeating the feat at heavyweight, something no one has ever achieved in the four-belt era. He's proven himself to be one of the most complete and disciplined fighters of his generation. His list of victims reads like a who's who of modern heavyweight boxing. Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, and Tyson Fury, all defeated twice. Now at 38 years old, his time in the sport is clearly nearing its end.
Oleksandr Uysk says he wants to fight Pereira before he retires. Yeah. Would you like to see Pereira in the boxing ring, and does he stand a chance?
I think he's got some good hands on him, and he's got a thunderous left hook.
He has one of the shortest left hooks. Pop! Short, just pop! Beautiful. It's beautiful to watch.
You know, we've seen with Ngannou, like, these guys can mix it but also can get sparked out. So Pereira, I don't think he can mix it with the likes of Oleksandr Usyk, but people are going to tune in.
I don't even know who that is.
UFC fighter, Alex Pereira.
Oh, I don't know who.
Okay, there
I
you
don't
go.
know nothing about him.
I think he'll do well, but boxing is one of those sports where you have to give it everything.
It ain't gonna be so easy to land on a guy like Usyk. You're talking about a whole different level of fighter here.
Is that a fight you would take?
Never know.
Okay.
Never say never.
For Atlas, the idea of a Usyk versus Pereira fight isn't just about sport, it's about legacy and spectacle. Pereira isn't a pure boxer, but he brings a kind of chaos and danger that could make Usyk's final act something truly unforgettable. It would be an unconventional matchup, sure, but it's also the kind of crossover fight that would capture global attention. Pereira's brutal power and intimidating presence would provide a fresh challenge for a man who has already conquered everything within the squared circle. Atlas said he's been like a machine, the Olympics, consolidating all the cruiserweight titles, all the wins, winning the heavyweight title, but now that you know you're coming towards the end, he may want to do it a little differently, outside just the regular realm. And part of that is to fight Alex Pereira. Pereira, he's not a traditional boxer, he's a big name. He's a scary guy. He's thought of as a sort of boogeyman in his field of the UFC or MMA. What better way to finish up? That said, Usyk still has unfinished business in boxing. His WBO mandatory challenger Fabio Wardley is now knocking on his door, fresh off an explosive win over Joseph Parker. The Ipswich heavyweight turned heads with that victory, coming from behind on the scorecards to stop Parker in the 11th round. It was a display of grit, heart, and raw power, the kind of performance that forced everyone to sit up and take notice. Teddy Atlas, who's long admired Usyk's discipline and intelligence in the ring, gave his take on the potential clash between the two. To him, Usyk represents everything a fighter should aspire to be: technically brilliant, mentally sharp, and unshakably composed. He has seen it all, won it all, and found ways to beat bigger men through sheer ring IQ and adaptability. Atlas has called him one of the greatest winners in the history of the sport, a man who simply refuses to lose. But even with all that praise, Atlas admits that Wardley's power gives him a puncher's chance. The Brit's ability to erase any deficit with a single shot makes him dangerous from the opening bell to the final round. The atmosphere for such a fight, especially if held in the UK, would be electric. Fans would come expecting drama, and Wardley's heavy hands guarantee it. Atlas knows Usyk will still be the favorite, but he also understands that in boxing, one clean punch can change everything.
Fabio Wardley knocks out Joseph Parker. A bit controversial. I thought it was a premature stoppage. Parker was probably up on the scorecards. Probably should have given him a little bit more as a former champion, but nonetheless, congrats to Wardley. Now, Wardley may be in line for a fight with Oleksandr Uysk in the heavyweight division. Usyk has kind of downplayed Moses Atuma. For me, I think it's a missed opportunity to not have Fabio Wardley and Atuma fight, and then the winner should fight Usyk, in my opinion. But Parker was ordered to fight Usyk. He took a dangerous fight with Wardley, ends up getting knocked out in the 11th round. So it's very likely that Fabio Wardley could end up seeing Usyk in 2026. Let me know what you think. Who would you favor? Usyk is a veteran, very crafty. Wardley, a lot of power.
Usyk's camp had already hinted that the winner of Parker versus Wardley would likely get the next title shot, suggesting they don't plan to drop the WBO belt anytime soon. If that's true, a showdown between Usyk and Wardley could be the next big event in heavyweight boxing. Tyson Fury, who knows Usyk's skill level better than anyone after sharing the ring with him twice in 2024, recently gave his thoughts on the matchup. And he didn't mince words. Fury acknowledged Usyk's brilliance, but also pointed out that Wardley's raw strength and determination make him a threat to anyone. Having experienced Usyk's precision firsthand, Fury knows how hard it is to catch him clean. Yet he also understands that Wardley's kind of power is always dangerous. He praised the Ipswich fighter's performance against Parker, brushing aside critics who still harp on Wardley's limited amateur background. To Fury, toughness and heart matter more than pedigree, and Wardley has plenty of both.
Do you give Fabio a chance against Usyk?
Listen, Usyk's a special talent. He's a good boxer, but listen, Fabio's a big dangerous puncher, and I'm sure if he hits anybody, he'll knock him out. He's very strong and he carries his power for a long time, so he did really well. You know, congratulations to him, because everyone was saying before this fight, oh, he's had no amateur experience. It means shit amateur experience. George Foreman had 11 amateur fights and won the gold medal. So it doesn't mean nothing, to be fair. You're a big strong man, big game man, done very well, so congratulations to him and his team.
Another man who weighed in was Derek Chisora, someone uniquely positioned to compare the two fighters. Chisora went the distance with Usyk in 2020 and has sparred countless rounds with Wardley in recent years. He predicted Wardley's victory over Parker before it happened, and after being proven right, he didn't hold back his admiration. However, when asked about whether Wardley was ready to challenge Usyk, Chisora was honest. In his eyes, it might still be too soon. He sees Wardley as strong and ever improving, but suggested he face someone like Daniel Dubois first to gain more experience before taking on the Ukrainian master.
Derek, do you think he can beat Usyk?
No, he won't beat Usyk.
What should he do next?
Take some time. Have a fight with Daniel.
Daniel Dubois?
Yeah, that's a fight for him.
Despite Chisora's caution, Wardley's victory has changed the heavyweight picture. Before the Parker fight, many assumed the winner would be next in line for Usyk, and now that Wardley has emerged victorious, that path seems clear. The Brit didn't waste any time either. He's already publicly called for the fight. His promoter Frank Warren has been equally eager, pushing for a March 2026 showdown. Warren, who has previously promoted Tyson Fury's fights against Usyk, believes Wardley's challenge brings something new to the table. In Warren's eyes, Wardley's rise is one of boxing's best stories. A fighter who started late with no extensive amateur career, but has learned quickly, adapted fast, and developed serious knockout power. Warren thinks that while Fury couldn't solve the Usyk puzzle, Wardley might approach it differently. He's less about outthinking opponents and more about overwhelming them. If he can land clean, Warren insists, even a technician like Usyk would have problems. From a promotional standpoint, Warren also sees the matchup as a goldmine, a massive event in the UK that could fill stadiums and attract global attention.
Great fight, fabulous fight. We always knew it was going to be, and it's what we said from the start. It only takes 1 second with him, and he turns a fight round.
Does that mean it's Oleksandr Uysk next for Fabio?
Sorry?
Is it Oleksandr Uysk next for Fabio?
It is. If he doesn't do it, then he will be stripped and he'll be declared champion. Fabio is now the WBA and WBO interim champion. So that's it now. That's where we are.
And for Joseph Parker, obviously put it all on the line tonight. Could have kind of sat on his hands and waited for this opportunity. Disappointing for him, but what could be next?
World champion. Hey.
Yeah, he did, and and I take my hat off to him for doing that. You know, he's a fighting man, real fighting man, and done what he had to do.
When do you expect to make Usyk?
Where am I going? Am I going the right way?
When do you expect to make Usyk Wardley?
When do I expect to make it? It won't be till next year. So let the dust settle, and we'll start the negotiations and go from there.
What about Dillian White versus Chisora? How close are we to that fight?
I think that happened. It's he's got 2 over him, hasn't he? So it's going to be his 50th. He won't want to lose that. You know, you've got 2 absolute foes going to get it on again.
Meanwhile, another familiar name in British boxing, Dave Ellen, shared his own thoughts. Having sparred with Usyk himself, Ellen knows just how frustratingly elusive the Ukrainian can be. On his YouTube channel, he admitted he didn't expect Wardley to beat Parker and openly gave the younger fighter credit for proving him wrong. Allen praised Wardley's hard, conditioning, and relentless approach, saying that while he doesn't see him outboxing Usyk, he wouldn't completely rule out an upset either. Wardley has a way of surprising people, and his improvements over the past couple of years have been undeniable.
Now Wardley Usyk. You can't rule that man out, to be honest. He's that fit, that tough, punches that hard, and he has the want to punch. You just couldn't rule him out. But could I see him beating Usyk? Not really. I couldn't see him getting anywhere near him. But I was certain Park would beat him. So yeah, I've got all my hands up. I'm very, very, very wrong. He's getting better all the time. And that's the thing about inexperienced kids. They do get better and better all the time. But he's just... I watched him through the fight and I thought, while he was getting beat, I just thought... Very fit, very strong, very athletic. Reflexes are that good. Yeah, fair play. There's not many can do what he's done with the inexperience. I'm very, very impressed with his athleticism.
However, not everyone in Usyk's camp is thrilled about the idea of another big fight. Alex Krasuk, Usyk's longtime friend, business partner, and former promoter, doesn't think it's necessary. To him, Usyk has already achieved everything possible in boxing. Olympic gold, undisputed champion at cruiserweight, undisputed again at heavyweight, and victories over the biggest names in the sport. Krasuk believes Usyk has nothing left to prove and should consider retiring at the top, just like Lennox Lewis did.
What do you want Usyk to do? Do you want him to fight Fabio Wardley based on the fact that he beat Daniel Dubois so convincingly?
I'm public in my position. I want Usyk to retire as fast as it's possible. I was even against his fight with Dubois, but okay, fighting Dubois makes some sense, becoming triple undisputed. But give me 1, not 2, not 3, 1 reason to fight Wardley. With all respect to this guy, with all the credits to him, but I'm thinking from Usyk's perspective. There is not even money is not the reason, because there is no money in the fight, unless a miracle happens and the magician comes by the helicopter with loads of money and distributes it, trying to gain boxing, to conquer the land of boxing and paying, I don't know, 50 million to Usyk. Then it might make sense. Otherwise, why should he risk everything he gained for the last 13 years? 3-time undisputed. We spoke. You mentioned if he loses, people will remember his loss.
From Krasuk's perspective, facing Wardley brings too much risk for too little reward. A loss, even a close or controversial one, could dent Usyk's spotless legacy. Financially, it might not even make sense unless there's a massive offer on the table. He's questioned whether the payday would be worth the sacrifices Usyk would have to make, the exhausting training camps, the long separations from family, and the physical toll of another big fight. At 38, Usyk wonders if Usyk still has the hunger for that kind of grind.
It's better to leave 1 hour before than 2 minutes after. So I'm on the same page with many people who are thinking strategically. The status of Usyk being undisputed, being unbeaten, will stay with him till the end of his days, and leave as the boxing legend. I don't know, maybe in the century.
But fans, of course, see things differently. Usyk's undefeated record and near-flawless performances have built an aura around him, and many still want to see how he handles one last dangerous challenger. Wardley's rise, his string of knockouts, and his fearless attitude have made him a fresh face in the division. A young, hungry fighter with something to prove. The thought of his raw power colliding with Usyk's precision and movement is too intriguing to ignore.
One of the generational talents, one of the best to ever do it, on all the marbles. There's nothing more I could ask for. There's nothing more I could want within this sport. So, just like everything else that's led me here, all I've ever asked for is the opportunity, and I've got that. And I'm not planning on stopping here. I'm not planning on getting in the ring with Usyk and going, look, thanks for having me, and just rolling over. That's not what I'm about. I think you saw that tonight. So, yeah, look, when that bell does go, me and Usyk do finally get in the ring, he's gonna have to work for it. Tell Usyk to turn up. Give him the directions to Ipswich. I'll give him my postcode. He can come find me and we can do it in the garden. But I don't care. Like, as long as he's there, bring his belts. Let's get this on.
Wardley himself is embracing the moment, and after beating Parker, he made it clear that he wants Usyk next and expects the champion to honor the WBO's mandate. He believes that Usyk's team has been keeping a close eye on his progress, and that now is the time to make it happen. To him, this isn't about arrogance, it's about belief. He acknowledges Usyk's greatness, but insists that once the bell rings, reputations don't matter. Every fighter bleeds, every fighter can be hit, and in Wardley's mind, every fighter can be beaten. His record now stands at 20 wins, 1 draw, and 19 knockouts, an incredible stat line for someone who started without the traditional boxing foundation. That kind of success has given him unshakable confidence. Wardley's mindset is simple: destiny favors the brave. He's not just fighting for belts anymore, he's fighting to prove that sheer willpower and belief can break through even the highest technical barriers.
Yeah, look, it can't be understated how good he is as a boxer and how much of a talent he is, but ultimately I have self-belief. I don't care who it is. He's at the bare bones of it, he's just a man across the ring with 2 arms, the same as me. So any man that steps in that ring with me, I can defeat.
As the heavyweight landscape shifts once again, Oleksandr Uysk finds himself at a crossroads. He could chase one final spectacle against a wild card like Alex Pereira, cement his supremacy by defending his belt against Fabio Wardley, or take the path of Lennox Lewis, stepping away at the pinnacle of his powers, untouched and unbeaten. Whatever he decides, one thing is certain: Usyk's story has already transcended boxing. He's not just a champion, he's a symbol of perseverance, discipline, and quiet dominance. Whether his final chapter involves a brutal showdown with Wardley or a daring crossover with Pereira, fans know one thing for sure: when Usyk steps into the ring, greatness always follows.